Salmonani, it is really a pleasure and a privilege for us, Namhlanje, to be sitting as a family just to share our journey. Thank you so much to the guys that's equally yoked for giving us an opportunity to share what we have regarded as a beautiful and the most rewarding journeys of our lives. My name is Utabiso Mabogoane, Nkosikazi Wamnono, Unontutuzelo, Umirenda Mabogoane. You are close, right?
Yes, I am.
So I married the Xhosa woman. So we were asked to just share briefly as to how we met. You are Kumbul?
Let me see. I think I was 17.
17, eh?
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second, let's go back a bit. So we are how old again?
20. Okay.
23 years. That's how old we've been. So we've been, what?
Is it 23?
23. We've known each other for 23 years and we've been married for 18.
Yeah.
So we literally dated for about 5 years before you and I got married,
yes.
you know? And you are a mom?
Of 3 teenagers.
Teenagers?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's a mother of 3 teenagers. We've got a beautiful boy, Achille is our firstborn.
Then we have Utumisho, my cook.
And we have my miracle baby, Unanake, who I must specify I prayed for. She was a gift from God. Mama thought she was done, but obviously we had to check which God was bigger than the others, and my God came through. So yeah, that's who we are. We that's the kind of family that we are. But anyway, back to how we met. How did we meet?
Okay, I was 17. I was doing the treatment.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a taxi, a kasi, and he came by driving Cressida Gababake. He was with his friends and they offered me a lift, to cut the long story short.
Yeah, so there we are. When I met the Sakasi, we see this beautiful chick. In fact, we didn't offer you a lift. You actually asked for a lift. We drove past her and we're out. When the guys turned back, as he turned back, she then requested.
I was like that.
Yeah, she waved us down, and we made a U-turn, came back, and we actually gave her a lift. Where? To the doctors, right?
Yeah, optometrist.
Now, we are so old that in those days we lived on our cell phones. So, Kumbula, we got to the doctor, and Ngapaka actually walked her across the street. And I kindly polited, his numbers like the phone.
Which I did. Actually, I'm going to say them once. If he has Bamba, he's lost.
And I did. I went across the road and I actually wrote them down on the Intabatin, on the soil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got a pen from the car and I wrote them down. And that was the beginning of a very interesting, beautiful journey for us. So then, obviously I'm excited. We are straight from Joburg. I just finished my matric. I had it done on my matric. I just came back and I guess I was very excited in the car, and all of a sudden in Shire, I'm done again. I must mind you, must not PK, ne? So I'm a PK and I'm coming from a family of 5 with 4 girls. So I'm kind of the guy. I'm kind of the guy. But when she came into my space, there was something that kind of shifted in my spirit, which at that point I wasn't really so sure what to be in. So what happened was I then called her, and then I tried to get her out to go on a date with me the weekend. I can't.
We met on a Thursday.
On a Thursday,
yeah.
Okay.
And then I just felt Saturday was too soon, so
being the course that she is, she agreed to the date, and. She agreed. So we were gonna go out on a Saturday. So Witbank is very small. There I am. I'm at the movie house. I got the tickets. I got the flowers. Probably the last time I bought her flowers.
No.
It's not, ne? But don't traumatize at that part because maybe I'm not big on flowers because there I was standing on our very first date with flowers and tickets and I got stood up. So anyway, I got stood up and then nothing worried because in my mind, but she left the house. Now remember, like I said earlier on, I don't have my cell phone, so anything in Senzayo has to be timed. So I sort of timed and they said to me she had left. So in my mind, I thought she was already on her way to town. Now I'm trying to call the house, she's out, nobody seems to know where she's going, it's been hours. Now I can't leave until maybe the next movie starts, because I'm just thinking she's running late. I have this hope. I can't die. I got stood up. I got stood up.
Easy.
Easy. And eventually I had accept defeat, and I stayed in town and and sort of tried to travel around and see if I could find her. Needless to say, there she was.
Hi.
You were?
No.
What happened?
You called me again,
okay.
and I was home.
And you were home.
And then you were supposed to go to church, and then we met after church.
Oh, so I actually did go to church.
Yes, you did.
So you've never made me miss church?
No.
You always kind of...
I'm a good girl like that.
Okay. So, and then I think from that time on, we started spending a lot of time together. Although we're not seeing each other, but we as friends started really building on our friendship, which was very exciting. And I eventually asked her out. I set her down that day, and I told her which I really, really liked her. And I didn't tell you I liked you. I told you I was interested.
Yes, you said you were interested in me and you would like to get to know me better.
And I requested that she'd spend some more time with me, which she did. And I think the rest, as they would say, would have been history. So in some weeks to come, it was going to be your birthday, ne? And you
the following month.
The following month. So I had to wait the entire month just to be told to. When's that line?
Oh, well, I needed to pray and ask God. Is it this one for me or Konomunyo side, But anyway, I prayed, and yeah, God confirmed. God confirmed. Yeah, I prayed for him, eh?
So,
what scripture was it, Goje?
What before the scripture?
Matthew 18:18.
Yeah, before the scripture, I had to wait for about a month, ne?
Not really. You didn't have to wait that long. It wasn't a month, just a few weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe 3.
And a couple of days.
Yeah.
So a month.
A month is 4 weeks.
There goes the closer thing again. So anyway, eventually I'm landed on that beautiful day, and obviously I don't know, I couldn't decide what gift to buy, because in my mind is then I don't want to be embarrassed with the gift that I bought. But if they say no, I don't want to spend more on a gift, your friend zone, than that of a boyfriend zone. So I think getting a gift was probably one of the most difficult gifts that I had to buy. Did I buy you a gift?
You did.
And what did I buy you?
A ring.
I bought you a ring.
Yes.
Ha! I bought you a ring.
Yep.
And what was that for?
I don't know. Hey, I think you said something like, you want something to remind me of you often. So every time I look at my fingers, I'll just think of you. Cheesy.
And cheesy boy.
Yeah, that was me.
So that was not even a promise ring. It was a ring for a promise, for an engagement, for marriage, for a ring. So anyway, eventually the day came, and we opened met you.
I think it was 1818.
Yeah.
That whatever you bind on earth, it will be bound in heaven, and whatever you lose on earth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, what God has joined together, let no man separate.
And I'm thinking, when I'm getting a girlfriend, all of a sudden,
A wife.
vows right there and there.
I was never your girlfriend.
And I'm thinking to myself, yo, ngibaleke sontweni, ngibalekela ku church girl, ngashaya around the street, thinking I'm gonna find a beautiful girl, and I'm being dragged right back into church. I was like, ngiyabhora la. Ngiyodla nini?
Wow.
Well, no, not really. But what I'm trying to say is that so I thought, you were like, yeah, well, let's not get to the point. I think in your mind, it's not the same as when you. But anyway, all I'm saying to you is that it was the beginning of wonderful things, and we then subsequently got married 5 years into our relationship, and it was quite a journey. So the second question that we were.
Okay, the next question is, what was the most challenging part in our marriage? Hey, I know. Hey, I'm not even sure. So what's in Sumang? What was the most challenging part?
I think for me now, it's important that we just go back a little bit kancane to the history of the church. Uh, we were both very young when we got married, and although our hearts were in the right place, but I felt it would see there would have been a lot of things that we could have done on our own that we did not get a chance to do. And so when we were into the marriage, for me, now, it was us still trying to find ourselves, trying to find the frequency. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to do all by myself. There was stuff that you wanted to do all by yourself. And the fact that there was just this enormous amount of pressure to play family and to look like a family. And we eventually started being each other's replicas. And I think for the longest of time, we followed each other blindly because singers as which is Mabogoane as Abantu. And I think for me that was probably one of the most difficult things that I had to sort of contend with in our marriage. What do you think really kind of pushed you?
Okay, for me now, I think at the age of 23, already not to have done.
Yeah, now kids are right after each other. Eh?
Yeah, 21.
And mind you, it's not DSTV, hence the kids, ne?
Anyway, I think I got my first baby when I was 21.
21, yeah.
And then the second one when I was 23.
23, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, skolo, kwamele simbe kancane. Okay, matric is now sharp, but university and all of that, kwamele simbe kancane. So basically, impilo yami, yaba vice versa. While my friends and everyone, they were business school, doing business motherhood. So that was very challenging, and in business motherhood, kama mazala. So I had to make decisions like afuna mina and what is best for me. And ukuzithola nje kuleso space, it wasn't easy because I had to apply to Department of Correctional Services, and nalapho benitshela ukuthi I'll never work there, but I end up on because ngibheke situation business. I think you had your first business when you were 19.
I was 19 when I had my first business.
Yes. So financially, things were not so good. So we had to help each other. So na ibengeke ngimtshele ukuthi baba hamba for the Eskom sizoba ne medical aid kwamele namenze plan. I think that part, yeah, for me it was very challenging because I had to adjust. Yekasi, senhleli town. Yeah.
No friends.
No friends.
Huge dog outside.
You know, and I
Can't
was
go
so
anywhere.
scared of dogs.
Yeah, but so anyway.
So yeah, adjustment stage was
for you, no? Yeah, and I think for the adjustment, it was always crazy because umuntu change every 10 years or so. I mean, about 10 years ago, when I turned 30, see now we really had serious problems and we couldn't for about a year. Eh?
Okay.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Well, 12, no? Yeah, just about 12 years ago, yeah. You and I had serious problems. I mean, at that point, I actually thought now this is the end of our marriage because we just could not find each other. And it is only when we had a discussion now about how much you were changing and how much I was changing as a person that we both began to realize that it was quite okay for us to be our own people in our marriages and be individuals yet remain married. Nyakumbula, I thought you were being rebellious. This is the time where you actually wanted to do your own thing. And when I say you wanted to do your own thing, I interpreted that as you wanting to now go out of the family and also maybe start something on your own, which obviously separates us. Now, with the history that I come from in being a pastor's kid, I watched my parents do everything together, and I watched my parents go everywhere together because they were the model family, they were the model parents, they were the pastors. And for me, I was basically trying to copy after that. But unfortunately for me, what I did not realize was that in terms of their employment, in terms of their activities, was almost the same. They came into the same space. They both worked for government. What else mean? On the other hand, my activities were very different. I had my own business. I was pushing. Sometimes I was home. Sometimes I wasn't home. And sometimes you find I've got to come home late at night. So there was just a lot of things that did not sort of add up at the and no matter how much I try and copy what they were doing, one had to find a space side and say, but this is what's going to work for me. And also I think the issue of friends. How have you been with your friends as well? Because I know I struggled with my friends in the beginning, in the first part of our marriage.
Okay, well, me again. I think I intentionally chose to be a mother the first few years of our marriage because I felt like abantwana bam, they must come first. So most of my energy when you focus gibo. Yes, I had friends, but abangani bam they understand that I'm married because abanye babo bebangekho married. I think I had only one friend who was married then, but they respected that space and many agibo, you know. So I wouldn't say ukuthi bebayinkinga kakhulu in terms of bringing conflict emshadweni. For me, they were very supportive.
No, for girls it's actually quite easy, more than amajita. For me, of all my friends, I think they recently just got married. All my best friends. I mean, I've been almost 10 years in marriage. So for the first 10 years, I was the only married guy among bachelors. So you could understand the amount of confusion that was in my space, the amount of recklessness that was around as well. And to a certain point, I would justify it by saying, yeah, I am doing what any other 26-year-old is doing without understanding I'm a married 26-year-old. And I think knowing what I know today, I would have done a whole lot of things different, considering at least the support that women have is not the same as what guys have. And I'm not trying to make an excuse, but the truth is, at that point, my friends would always tease me, but hey, we're not really, we were born married.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we were placed under an enormous amount of pressure as well from my friends to perform and make sure we don't break up. Because there was a stage where my friends are looking up to us, because if I'm going to get this wrong, I'm going to be getting it wrong for a whole lot of people. So there was also that pressure that was coming from my friends to say, look, you're the married one here, you're the one that needs to be responsible. And it's very hard to be responsible. We're one in a group of irresponsible people about 12, no matter how much you try, the odds against you. So I think we've been through quite a lot. Our money issues, what do you think our money issues were?
Okay.
Did we really have money issues?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Because at some point, it's a relay with salary,
okay,
while things were not so good with business. And having a joint account.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried that.
What happened there?
Hey, when I'm married, then you're right.
My relationship with money.
Your relationship with money was not very right.
Okay.
So yeah. We had challenges in mind because business in ups and downs and stuff like that. And when you told her DCS being a CNA. So yeah, like my lessons are tough decisions. So I think most of the time we pindela kundaba ye-frequency ukuthi sinawe besingasitholi siko same wavelength, and also we didn't see things the same. So ukureconcile i-idea yakho neyami thola yethu soyithu, it was a challenge for quite some time actually.
I don't know about imali it being a problem. Sometimes we don't see things the same way we do still when I'm
It's possible.
But to my defense, I think we've done fairly well in that department, because I think if there's one thing that we've always had now, no matter how difficult things were between us, was we always said what needs to be done needs to be done. Because a lot of people in their relationship, they tend to neglect some of their financial responsibility. And when they get back together again, they'll tell us because they've neglected those responsibilities while they were going through a conflict. But now we managed to say it doesn't matter what we go through. What about me being a responsible husband? Because you make it sound like really.
Let's go to business good.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's just a phase. I mean, it's not like we're humping a taxi.
But it's included.
Yeah, but it's not like we're humping a taxi. You don't have petrol. I mean, I bought a bike after I bought you a car. Why won't you credit you as true? Okay, sure. Anyway, guys, so let's go back to what we were saying earlier on. How do we overcome some of those challenges? When we actually realized, and I think this came with age. I mean, I'm of the opinion right now. Cognizing is that come with a true understanding of who you are as a person, and we encourage a lot of people who are recently married or people who are going to get married. It's important for you to really, really find yourself in a marriage, or rather, before you get into marriage, find yourself and understand who you are. Because it is only now that we have realized, which there's us, there's we, but there's
me
and
you.
And whatever I am and whatever moves me as a person has to remain. And you know how times have changed. For us, one of the people once jokingly looked at my wife's ring. She had one of those old goldish rings, and gold that we got from American Swiss, and I must step on my name, so, and she had a beautiful one, with one stone, and she said to her, "Yo, your ring, go, I find it now." To which her response was, "Mina ngishatanga izolo." So I think for Tina age group here too, there were a few challenges that were imposed on us unnecessarily, and to a certain extent by the church, because in those days we didn't have as much information about marriage as what people have today. And in those days, Ishama social network and information was not as really available as it is today. So we had to really battle a lot on our own, because the church, it was really closed up. As much as Bonas is in Gonzo, there wasn't really that thing of
discussion and relevant topics
about being individual. It was always, you guys need to do one thing. And I think that's where we found a lot of conflict. So at the moment we realized that we were better as individuals in a marriage, that's when we began to turn the corner in our marriage.
I agree, because also I would say nesikhathi besispenda apart from each other. For me, somehow it made me realize, ukuthi, as much as I am Mrs. Mabogoane, but I am still Unondutuzelo. So I had to find my own happiness, So that's where I went back to school, did my BA in psychology, I did the honors. So kubalulekile to find yourself usemshadweni, because
yeah,
I would say I discovered who I am sengisemshadweni. So being real is also important, because I think esikhathini esiningi we try to please each other at our own expense,
And you always said, look, we speak. I mean, we might be all over the place in how we speak, and but I think maybe that represents how our lives have been, because I don't think we had a very orderly marriage.
Yeah.
So there was just this cocktail going on, and we were both drunk in the space. But eventually we got used to it, and I must say, we are still turning the corner. I mean, 18 years into the whole thing, Yomshato. So now we're still facing challenges daily. And I think 3 years ago we both concluded, if you think you know each other, wait until you get married. Marriage will introduce you to your real you as well. And this is where Uber evolved, and having a teachable spirit is very important. I mean, at some point, I was the kind of husband who would not buy groceries. I'd always say, I made money, I made good money, and I'd always say to her, well, Nani card, go swipe, yeah. You had the car, you had the cards, you had the money, so you could go do groceries on your own while I worked. And my attitude was, you're not going to send me for bread. And God had to teach me certain things to a point and I had to evolve, because when I do get paid, instead of waiting for one big payday, I'll have to do groceries on a weekly basis just to try and make up. And that's how I learned to start doing groceries. That's how I learned how to cook, because when you started school, I'd have to now look after the kids. So I think by you doing you also introduced me to a part of me that I didn't know about myself. And so I think it's important as couples to really do yourself, because that opens up like Mama was saying, it opens up a gap for the other person to say, look, hang on, there's a gap here in the family. Let me fill it in. And when you eventually fill in that gap, it also now you start. That's where you start learning new tricks, new talents, new sort of ideas start coming up, because now you've got to be very industrialized in terms of how you do and how you raise kids. So I think that also was one part of our lives which has been very, very interesting. But I think having a teachable spirit has really, really gone a long way in saying, okay, I am not it all.
I agree with you, and also I would say not ukungabi competition with each other.
Yeah.
That's also very important. I think it helped us as well, because there was a stage where he was having fun with his friends and I had to stay home and look after the kids. But if Benizjelo would say, okay, uyahamba nabangani bakhe, I'll do the same thing, somehow maybe kuba sikho la. So ukuhlala nje kuleni yakho as umama or as ubaba, it helps. Because I would say also what I've learned from ama challenges wethu ukuthi, and that's usually what you say, ukuthi umshado awumiswa abantu abayi-2. There was a stage where bowumile because of me, and there was a stage where bowumile because of you, and there was a stage la bowumile not because of us but because of prayers zabanye abantu. And there was a stage where I stayed, hayi ngoba bengisafuna ukuhlala, but because of that verse engalithola mangina 17.
And probably there was stages where kids were the biggest reason.
Yes.
We were like, okay. And in those stages, like, oh, if Nimshia then I want to have medical aid. So we've gone through all those stages. And I think there's nothing wrong and there's nothing to be ashamed about the stages that you go through in your marriage. Because whatever it is that is making you guys to stay together, I think at that point it is relevant to make sure that you guys remain married. And it's something that you can't take for granted. Umshado is the same as finding Christ, you know. I don't think you can find a bigger Christ than the other person. And abantu who are successful in marriage, they always make it seem like when they've never had mistakes, they've never had flaws. And look, see, I say to you, I'm very confused with being Betty, and she's Xhosa and very convicted in what she is as a person. And between those three characters, there's always been issues around the whole thing. Anybody will tell you in development wants to have his way. And like I'm saying, there were days now where I wish I could set everything on fire, but I wouldn't do that because that would be wrong and illegal. So the point that she's making and that trying to say is that it doesn't matter what's making you guys stay, as long as it's keeping you guys together. One of the things that I think helped me as well as a man was to say, I did not get married to divorce. And that has always remained my driving force. Her driving force has always been divorce is unfair. And I remember when she explained that concept to me, I told him, you know what, it'd be very unfair if we divorce, because it means we will separate, we will have to split. And I did not get into a marriage or buy a car to have the car split into half. So I think with those stupid little gestures and ideas about marriage, that is what has made us remain who we are and true to ourselves as a couple as well. Yeah, what? So I don't know if you've covered just about,
I think so,
everything else. But let me ask something there. Do you think we've really turned the corner?
Yeah, I think we have. I don't know, maybe Futnalo Uti, I just turned 40.
Okay.
But it was a space where we're at peace. We understand that we are two individuals, we are different, we see things differently, but we are able to respect that.
And do you think I've allowed you to grow as a person?
But we're not choice.
What do you mean another choice? I could have stood my car and said, I like him.
Okay, the choice is that's it.
That's okay. That's what happens when you've been married for long. You're like family now. I'm dancing. What do you do?
What do you do?
I'm like it's crack.
So yeah, man, we have. I honestly believe we have, because serial.
Yeah, how you enjoy waking up at 5 for gym.
Yes.
I enjoy sleeping until 7, and 2 minutes before I have to go to work, brush my teeth, go to work. You enjoy being at home. I enjoy being a strategy. What else do you enjoy that I don't enjoy?
Golf and being a bicycle.
So, but here's the thing. I think more than anything else, we've allowed ourselves a space to go discover, explore, but come back with an understanding that we have a family to raise. And I think the family that we both love, the family that we both appreciate, and the family that we will both give our lives for. And I think that has been the underlying foundation of our marriage. And that is we love each other very much. And I still love you. To bits, you're my favorite person in the whole world. And yeah, guys, I hope in our craziness and in our madness and in all of this that we said tonight, you could find some hope in it, some inspiration in it, find some solace and some comfort. As a parting shot, I want to say to you, marriage is as beautiful as you make it out to be. If you put in the right effort into it, it's worth every moment, it's worth every breath, it's worth every fight that you put up. So for me, thank you so much for having us in your space.
Sibonge, Bahlali. I'm kidding. But thank you guys so much for inviting us, and I hope Connect to be there too, or one, I don't know. But what God has joined together, let no man separate. And sometimes it's good thing a third person to bring separation, but none. You can't be that man who brings separation. So in you finding yourself, in you embracing your individuality, don't separate what God has joined together. Thank you.
Peace. Are we gonna separate like?
Nope.
No. Bye, guys.